Good afternoon. It's my pleasure to welcome everyone present with us tonight and those that are viewing otherwise. I call this meeting to order. Let's have our roll call, please. Okay, let's stand and we will have our invocation and pledge, please.
Let's pray. Father, we thank you this evening for your many blessings upon us. We thank you for this day that you have given us to serve you. And we pray, Father, that in everything we do, we might honor you and serve you. Be with us in this meeting this evening. We pray, Father, that you might guide and direct our thoughts, guide and direct our conclusions, and help us to make those decisions that are pleasing in your sight and those decisions that are best for the citizens that we represent. These blessings we pray in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Let's face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mr. Manager, do we have any amendments or corrections to the agenda?
No, sir.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, let's vote. How about the, Mr. Rhodes, you next?
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. We have two zoning-related items for your consideration tonight during a public hearing. The first one is for Quisha Carr, and this is a conditional use permit, and it is for a group care facility, commonly known as a group home. Of course, with this particular process, we do hold this during a public hearing, and there's also a number of criteria that we'll consider during this process. With this, we'll be handling the process through quasi-judicial procedures, and we'll be attempting to establish the facts. Those wishing to speak will need to be sworn in by the clerk in just a minute. And also, any decisions that are requested for appeal go to Superior Court. So with that, at this point, anytime anyone wishing to speak should come forward to be sworn in.
Place your left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand, and repeat after me. Is this person doing it?
This is for the first case, the conditional use permit for the group home. Okay, that's good.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
I do. The property in question for tonight is located on Riverview Road, and those of you that are familiar with this is the area that was cut off of Old River Road when the bypass went in, and there's an overpass that's pretty much created two segments on either side of that overpass, and I'll show you a map in just a minute. The comprehensive land use plan designates this area as agricultural / open / natural resource. And just a definition for the group care facility, and to give you a little idea of how these are licensed. This is licensed through the state, through the Department of Health and Human Services, and it's typically based on the structure that will house these individuals. So with that, even though the definition that's in front of you tonight says it's up to 30 people for this particular type of use, the actual structure in which the particular structure on this parcel will be the determining factor as to the number of youth that could be housed there in foster care. And with that, you can see this is a facility licensed by the state of North Carolina with support and supervisory personnel that provides room, board, personal care, or services in a family environment for not more than 30 people. And the location here, you can see on the screen, here's Martin Luther King Boulevard, the bypass, and Old River Road kind of skirts around now over the overpass, and you've got two road segments on either side. The property in question is right here on Riverview Road. And you can see the land uses in this area are predominantly open or undeveloped areas, as well as a good number of residential lots. There are some mobile home parks, as well as some other residential development along that roadway. There are development standards in our zoning ordinance for the group care facilities, the first of which is a 1.5 mile separation from other similar uses or halfway homes, and that is the case. We have that information in a mapping layer in our GIS, so we've checked it. Limited to not more than 30 persons, and also parking lot screening if required. As with any of the other cases that come in as a conditional use permit, we go through 4 criteria. The first one being, will this particular use materially endanger the public health or safety? You'll see on the application, Ms. Carr has also responded from staff's comments. This particular use is a level 1 group care facility for foster care children or foster youth, and therefore we believe it will not materially endanger the public health. Will it substantially injure the value of adjoining property? Again, this is a residential use. It will be treated as such, and we feel like it will be in a good match in that area. Is it in harmony with the area? We believe that it is. And is it also in conformity with the land use plan and other similar plans? We believe that it is. So with that, we have 2 motions for consideration. The first one is to acknowledge that this particular application is complete and complies with all the zoning ordinance requirements. And secondly is to actually approve this conditional use permit subject to the development standards, and we went through those with the separation and the screening. So with that, Mr. Chairman, we're ready for the public hearing tonight.
All right, I declare the public hearing open. Anyone desire to speak for or against this issue?
Mr. Chairman, we have one person signed up, Quisha Carr, who is the petitioner. Would she like to come forward? You can state your name and address for the record, please.
Aquisha Carr, 435 Glacier Place, Winterville, North Carolina.
You have anything else you want to say other than what's already been said, ma'am?
Pretty much, right now we're operating in Martin County. We've been doing it for almost 4 years now. This is a level 1 facility. The kids are in foster care. So this is not like your level 2, level 3, level 4 mental health kids. So these kids, they interact with us. They come to our homes. They go to church with us. You know, they go on vacation with us. So it's nothing for the neighbors to be worried about as far as them like breaking in their houses or hanging out late. We have 24-hour supervision. They have bedtime, so they're not out, you know, walking the street 11, 12, you know, at night, that type of thing. And so pretty much, you know, these are, you know, regular kids.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else that would like to speak at this time?
Place your left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you?
Yes. My name Jesse Shepherd. I live out there, one house from that location. And what I really want to know, I've been there ever since 1971. I built the house in 71. Now, I didn't think anything like this was going to take place out in that section because I'm retired, got handicapped, false hip, false knee, 3 rows on my back, so I can't do a whole lot, and I don't leave a whole lot of activities around me. And I'm wanting to know, do y'all gonna change the zoning part? If you're gonna change the zoning part, I don't go for it.
Have anything else to say?
No, sir. That's it.
Mr. Rose, do you want to speak to that for him?
Yes, sir. The request tonight is not actually a rezoning, but it is for a particular type of use that's only allowed with a conditional use permit that's granted by this board. So the particular type of use that's being considered tonight is for a group home. As Ms. Carr has indicated, it would be serving foster youth here in our facility in the county. And she is already licensed under the state in another county to provide those types of services, and she's looking to move here into Pitt County.
Could I ask Mr. Rhodes a question that might relate to this also? The, how many residents will there be?
Good question. We're estimating it's going to be 6. And what happens, this is but one step in the process for establishing this home. What happens, the actual inspection of the home that dictates the number of persons going in, it won't happen until after this is approved.
Right.
So this is one step. The state will come down, review the dwelling, do an inspection, and then determine on the license, how many it's licensed for. We anticipate, given the size of the home, probably no more than 6.
Okay. And if I understand correctly, these children will be getting on the bus, going to school, and coming back to the house, just like as if they had 6 or 5 or 4 children.
These, I will use the term mainstream.
Right.
Again, they will be eligible to go to high schools or elementary schools here in the county.
Right.
Could be riding the bus. Again, it would
that's
look
what I
and
meant,
appear
just a
just like any
normal-
residential home out there.
Like that was their home and these were their parents.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. James?
Well, you know, James, I've already asked you a lot of questions. And I'm very much concerned. I know there will be supposed to be 6. The oldest one is supposed to be 18 years of age. What's the youngest? And what do you know what school they'll be going to? I have many questions on this.
Okay. The youngest, this is licensed for age 6. We just got an increase to age 21. We had a child that was with us for 3 years. The main goal is for these kids to transition back into their homes. Sometimes that's not an option. So, like I said, we had a child that was with us for 3 years. At the time, he wanted to stay in care, which he would continue to live there in the home. He would sign a CARS agreement where he would be allowed to stay with us as long as he was either in school or working. And then we would transition him on out to like finding his own apartment, getting a job, going to school, those types of things. So it's ages 6 to 21.
I know you're in Martin County now.
Right.
Why do you want to leave Martin County? You've been there 4 years, I believe.
One reason is we live here in Winterville. Not only do we own the facility, we work there. So, you know, we like to interact with the kids on a daily basis if possible. So right now it's a 45-minute drive for us.
Well, that really brings a question. You live in Winterville, why are you way out there?
Because before we started doing this, we had a mental health facility under the same name. That was where the need was at the time when we started back in 2008, so that's where we went. So when we closed that business, we just stayed there.
All right, this person, 21 years old, because I'm very much concerned now when you brought that up pertaining to this gentleman that lives there, has been living there, and of course I know you, Mr. Shepherd. Does he have a driving license? Does he have a car?
Right now, we've never had anybody that's 21.
Right.
The child that was supposed to stay, he's no longer with us. He'll be 18 in a couple of days.
But didn't you say you were going to have one that now that would be 21, can stay there until he's 21 years of age?
They can stay until they're 21, and they could have a driver's license.
Oh, you're not under the social service department here in Pitt County, are you?
We can take kids from anywhere in North Carolina.
And so these kids that you're talking about, how many are from Pitt County right now? That was another thing James could answer.
None are from
None
Pitt
from
County.
Pitt County.
I think it pretty much depends on the county's budget. If they place kids with us, some of the counties, like Cumberland County is a big placing agency, and from my understanding, they have a larger budget. So we get a lot of kids from them. We've gotten kids from Craven County, Halifax County, Nash County, Beaufort County, Martin County.
Well, it's not that I'm against, I know these kids got to be taken care of. I realize that, but at the same time, we've got to remember those people that have owned their home, they live there. And have you met with them, Mr. Sheriff, at all? No. Nobody's talked to you about this? No. Yeah.
Well, these are not dangerous kids.
I know they're never dangerous.
Yeah,
So
well,
you're dealing with kids, and they get up at 21 years of age. That's a different world.
right. Well, we
you
have
know that.
rules, and they have to abide by the rules or they can't stay there. It's not just our decision whether or not they stay there. It's the state's decision. If they're not in school, they're not trying to become productive citizens, if they're not working, if they're not following our rules, like simple rules as like times to get up, what time to be in, those types of things, they will be discharged from the program.
Once we approve of it, say we get complaints, do we have any authority on it, or is that forever? James, maybe I would ask you that question.
Again, the state controls the licensing of this. So as far as a licensure process, yes, you can file complaints with the Department of Health and Human Services.
Ain't worth 2 cents, is it?
Well, I will say, Mr. James, as you know, with the Department of Social Services, there is a need for foster care.
Well, I know that, I
throughout the
realize
state.
that too.
So,
And we need good ones. That's another thing. I wish you had talked to this gentleman, though, Ed. Wish y'all could have got together.
I talked to someone, Hazel Shepherd.
That was my wife.
Okay, I talked to her.
Saturday,
I believe Friday or Saturday.
Anything else, Mr. James?
I think that's,
All right, Mr. Webb?
let me say it, Mr. Owens. I try to put myself in those people's shoes that are living there. And when you get to be elderly, and you live there, most of it, he's been down there for 30, 40 years. That's a long time. I think we need to consider those things.
Mr. Webb?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have some experience with these in my other profession, and usually they're very well run. We have very few problems out of those. I'm assuming because of the age that it goes up to that maybe you're dealing with some mental health issues. I don't know that you can even disclose that or not.
Well, they're not mental health kids.
Behavior
No.
issues.
They're foster kids.
There's foster kids. Okay.
Right, yes.
And
Like
and
we're not allowed to take mental health kids.
Right, okay. Because we have a need for, as Ms. Warden mentioned, a need for foster care across the state. And James, my question is, I know that if it became an issue, I have no doubt that you folks run a good organization, but should it become an issue, I know that you could file the licensing complaints with the state, but could we not remove the conditional use permit if it became a nuisance, or can we approve it for shorter periods of time and revisit it to make sure there haven't been complaints? That way, if it does become a nuisance of some sort to the citizens, we do have a recourse and we can set a time that it expires.
I'm not familiar with revoking a conditional use permit, and I'm looking at Janice. That's typically not the case. Once it's allowed, until that time that the use goes out of operation, it can close. But
Madam Attorney, we don't have an option for a shorter.
You do not under the law the way it's currently written. And the reason is because the questions you're answering today, the answers to those questions would remain the same as it relates to the land use versus her operation of the facility. So the operation of the facility would be governed by the state. The consistency with your land use plan would be determined by this board today. And if that land use or should change, then she would be grandfathered, as long as she maintained the same business.
All right, thank you.
Ms. Ward again.
I will have to say that I haven't heard anything that has made me feel like that this would be anything like some of the homes and some of the things that we have considered in the past. I do know that there are a lot of foster children out there that cannot find permanent homes, meaning people to adopt them. And you all have been in this business, you know what you're doing. It's not a mental health, it's not, they haven't been in trouble with the law. I know you're not allowed to take those type of children who have a mental health problem. So, and did I understand you to say that the 21-year-old was not coming back, or is?
No, he
But
he
you
went
have,
home.
you can go up to 21, but
Right.
the 21-year-old is not in the picture now.
Right, that's
But you have,
correct.
the oldest one you have is an 18-year-old,
17.
17, soon to be 18, okay. But I don't have a problem with this. I think it would be a good thing for us to have in Pitt County. I would like to see you maybe sit down and talk to the neighbors, maybe all of them, or particularly the gentleman who is here. And, you know, just as a future neighbor moving in, if it's passed, I think it would be a good thing to do.
Like I said, I have talked with his wife, and we exchanged numbers. And so,
But just,
If I
if,
need
you know,
to,
it might be
yeah.
another nice gesture for
Yeah.
you. Thank you very much.
Mr. Garish?
Did I understand you to say you live in Winnable,
yes,
and this home is going to be in Belleville?
yes,
So you have someone employed full-time, 24 hours a day to stay over there with these kids?
yes. Well, they're in school during the day.
Okay.
And then we have a second shift, third shift, and then a weekend shift. And my husband and I both work there
So
also.
there's always adults there when the kids are there?
There has to be,
Okay,
yes.
fine, thank you.
Mr. McLaughlin?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think this is a very needed project, and you said you've been working in is it Martin County, that you have a home there?
Yes.
Now, how long have you been doing this? How many years have you been doing this type of?
This is our 4th year
Okay.
doing foster care.
Mr. Chairman, I certainly think that this is an ideal situation, especially for foster children, and I view Pitt County may be in need of such a tremendous need to help these children. And Mr. Chappell, I certainly concur with what Commissioner Ward said, that maybe we just need to maybe communicate a little bit more with Mr. and Mrs. Chappell to make sure that their uneasiness is sort of attended to.
Absolutely.
With that said, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that
Not
we.
the right time yet, Mr. McLaughlin.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Any other discussion by commissioners at this time?
The only thing that I have is, James, I think something like this, you ought to always check where it comes from and what is recommended by those people that live there. You won't do it this time. You do it when you rent property and so forth. That's where you tell the history of one. But I'm on the Social Service Board here, and we have a lot of kids, Commissioner Ward, that needs to go into foster care. That's what I'm concerned. None of these kids are from Pitt County.
Well, maybe they will be in the future.
We
But
actually
let's-
got our first call from Pitt County probably a couple of weeks ago, but we were full. So hopefully we'll be able to work with Pitt County in the future.
And I know we need people like you, but got to make sure it's run the way that it ought to be run.
It is.
That's my concern. I'm dealing with people out there in the public, in rural areas, and I know what you're dealing with. Some of these don't. That's
Thank you,
all I
Mr.
have to
James.
say.
I also like to say, where we are currently, we've never had a complaint from the neighbors.
That's good.
You know, none of the kids have ever broken into anybody's houses or, you know, anything like that. So, they're good kids, really. They
Is there
just need.
anyone else in the audience now that would like to speak for or against this issue? We're now in the mode of public hearing. All right, if you want to say, come around, identify yourself and talk.
Or they weren't sworn in.
Place your left hand on the Bible. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I'm Danny Carr. This is my wife, and I just wanted to say we started foster care pretty much in our house, and I grew up here in Moorwood, and I've been teaching here in Pitt County. Well, I just worked in Wilson County last fall. My first year, 9 years in the school system, I worked in Pitt County, and I'm now currently back in Pitt County, and hopefully till I retire in the school system, and I work with kids with behavior problems. So, and I pretty much come in weekends during the summer and try to, train the staff, because, it's just like my daughter. If she get an attitude, you do deal with that, but if we ever get kids that's disrespectful, you can try to train the staff to understand them. We discharge them, and we see the record. It's been kids we turned down due to their past. And pretty much, we have a guy, Mr. Jesse down the street. He comes to the house. He probably about 70 years old. So the kids, and they interact with him, and I definitely, with all due respect, me personally, they been around my grandparents, my wife's parents. I just got zero tolerance for, kids being disrespectful or in his yard, anything like that. So it's we run a tight shift, the same thing with the staff and everything. But pretty much, like she said, they good kids overall, and the only reason we went up to 21 is because, like, we have a 17-year-old. She has nobody. She has no family, point blank. Tried to send her out to Arizona to her uncle. It lasted 4 months. She back. So she's going to get 18. She been with us, Zara, about 9 months. Sorry, I'm about to say her name because she been with us about 9 months. But she's probably end up 18 with nowhere to go. And what I do is, some of them want us to adopt them. But what I do, I tell them they can stay in the system because the state offer things like free college and things like that. So we try to get them. They got different programs helping with jobs and stuff. So pretty much that's why we went up to 21. Because when you get a kid 3 years, they don't have anywhere to go, we want to try to keep helping them. That's all I pretty much wanted to say.
Thank you, sir. Who was next?
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Melody Ellison. Jesse Shepherd is my father. And when he talked to me about the letter that he received, he didn't agree with it. And I understand tonight I'm hearing that my stepmom, Ms. Hazel, is the one that actually spoke with the young lady that just spoke. And 2 days before an event to happen, either Thursday or Friday, whenever the call was made to her, but my dad them received the letter, but no one, they wouldn't have never even known about it until they actually really got the letter or the phone call, which was either Thursday or Friday. I understand that's what she said, I think. And so he's getting the letter, but yet you got Thursday and Friday, and then you have the whole weekend. Today is the day of the meeting for a vote on it. So there is nothing being where it has been transpired where my parents had time to even think about or how it would affect them. And I think it should have been more communication, not just a phone call. I think it should have been, meeting face-to-face, because my dad has been there, all my adult life, and even from birth up to now. And no, I understand there are kids out here that needs help. I'll be the first to say that, I think it's a great thing, but at the same time, I don't think it's good to have something like this in a residential area where you have a lot of seniors that lives out there. Yes, there are some, places where there are young people, but it's not a whole lot to do out there in the county where on over the road where, I grew up down on that road, but now as time has gone by since, my age, the young people are finding so many different things to do in the streets that are not safe. So to have that where my dad feels unsecure that these young people that will be coming right, you might well say one house between where he lives, there's his home, then you got a mobile home, and then you have this house. That is just too much. It's too close. And I don't want him to spend the rest of his life worrying about what could happen. Kids might be, not to say that they're not good kids. I'm not even saying that. But every kid take a chance. I was a child once, and I know sometimes I done things that my parents didn't agree on, and they wouldn't accept it. But you know what? We as kids, we do things sometimes, we're going to take that chance. So you can't say that these kids might not do what they will do and what they won't do. All I'm asking is y'all reconsider even approving this, because I think that the people that have lived out there in that community that many years should have the right to have whoever they want to be out there without being scared or stressed and wondering whether you got to lock up everything you have and stuff. I don't think that's fair for the neighbors or as the residents that lives out there. Yes, there is a need for these kids to be in places, but I think they need to be in areas where it's not going to be, where they got a little bit more authority around them, because you don't know what kids would do. So I appreciate the time, and I hope you all reconsider my dad's input on this, because this right here in his older years, he's 72, and I pray that God will allow him as many years to come, but I don't want his life to be stressed unnecessarily. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Did we have another one that needs to speak? Come up, please.
I'm John Carmen, and I'm the owner of the property. And once she explained to me what she was doing, I was pretty comfortable with renting the house to her for that purpose, because I do know there is a need for these children. And I would certainly hope that they could get Mr. Shepherd and his wife to be comfortable with this, because there's a very high need for this. My wife and I invested a lot of money in that house, and we wouldn't have rented to them if we weren't comfortable with what they were going to do and with the experience and all that they have at doing this in the past. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Now, one more time, anybody else want to speak? If not, I'm going to declare the public hearing closed. Mr. McLaughlin?
Mr. Chairman, motion to approve.
I second it.
All right. Any further discussion?
Well, I'd like to say, and I work for planning and zoning. This is one of the reasons that I work for, to protect those people who live there, which is very important. That's all I have to say.
Ready to vote? Thank you. Next, Mr. Rhodes, I believe you got another one?
Yes, sir. Our second public hearing tonight is for a rezoning request, and this is actually for conditional district rezoning for, in this case, strictly one use, and we'll show you the site plan in just a minute. This is for Alex Pine Straw and Mulch, LLC, and this is located on County Home Road, just south of Wintergreen School, about 3/4 of a mile or so. It is actually located within an existing manufactured home park, which has Ellison Road serving those units. Currently, it's in rural residential, and the request tonight is for general commercial conditional district. On your screen, you can see the location of this site, this being County Home Road here. Ellison Court, you can see the mobile homes within this particular development. This is also McLaughlin Farm Road here, so here's the intersection of County Home and McLaughlin Farm. Actually, right now, if you look real closely, you can see the existing pine straw mulch business that is actually being run out of one of the units there, kind of a homegrown home occupation that's been there pre-zoning, so it's been grandfathered in. They're looking to expand now into a bona fide structure on this rezoned property if you see fit. As far as our land use plan is concerned, and you can see this fits in very well with our community crossroad area. Worthington Road also is just a little bit further south, and as you're aware, there's several commercial uses right there at that intersection already. In our land use plan, we designated pretty much an outgrowth of that crossroads along County Home Road to, again, provide additional services for that area of the county. The community crossroad community, again, as it sounds like, it pretty much allows for a mix of uses there, including commercial uses similar to the one you're reviewing tonight at prominent crossroads. This is the existing land use plan map, and you can see the different commercial uses that are. There's a mini storage here, a store here. There's also on the opposite side of Worthington Road a couple of other commercial operations. Also a commercial operation just north of there as well. As far as the zoning is concerned, this has been limited right to the crossroads with one commercial area there. For this particular district, it does accommodate a wide range of retail and office related type uses. For this conditional use or conditional district rezoning, it is strictly for the sales of pine straw, mulch, and landscaping services. And this is the site plan. Whenever we have one of these conditional district rezonings, what comes in with it is actually the application along with a drawing to show exactly how it's to be developed. This particular site will encompass about 4 manufactured home park sites within the park. With this, you can see the boundary. It's a little bit over 1 acre in size. There's one small office building, about 24 by 24. The area here in gray now is pretty much the area for storage of some of their materials for this business. Also a grassed area out front, and we do have some requirements for screening around not only County Home Road, but the adjacent properties as well. You see that in green. Just one thing here too, since this is currently operating as a manufactured home park, we did get the owner's consent as part of this petition to utilize Ellison Court, which is the private road that will serve this particular development site. The planning board did meet to review this at their last meeting and agreed unanimously to move forward with this particular rezoning request. Staff also recommends the rezoning of this, and again, it's a little bit better than 1 acre in size, to a general commercial conditional district. And with that, Mr. Chairman, we're ready for the public hearing.
All right, I declare the public hearing open. Anyone signed up to speak for or against this?
No, sir.
If not, I declare the public hearing closed. What's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I am very familiar with this property. The business is currently being run on this piece of property, and there's businesses all around it as the map indicated, so I would make a motion that we approve.
I second it.
All right, let's vote. Thank you. Do we have a motion to recognize this gal?
So moved.
Second.
All right, ready?
Tonight we have 3 Boy Scouts in Pitt County that are being recognized. I believe we have 1 in attendance. We had 2 we thought were going to show up. But we'd like to recognize them on achieving the rank of Eagle. And in Pitt County, just would like folks to know that these projects take much planning, much work by not only the Boy Scout himself, but the troop, and hundreds of hours of work in some cases on a lot of projects. And then it takes a lot of review and approval to earn the rank. So tonight we have your Mr. Stocks, correct? Yes, sir. Okay. We have Walker Andrew Stocks with us, and for his project, pull the certificate out here. He rebuilt a handicap ramp and deck at the Ruritan Building / Holy Apostles Orthodox Church in Winterville. And Mr. Chairman, if you'd like, I could read the certificate.
Walker, do you have anyone you want to come up with you?
My scoutmaster.
All right, come on up.
Grandfather.
Oh,
I think that'd
that's
be very
cool.
appropriate.
Yes.
He said it was his
Congratulations, son.
Thanks.
Know you, Brian. Thank you. Now, do you want to say something to everybody?
Well, I really appreciate you recognizing me tonight. I mean, it means a lot to me. I really appreciate the Royalton Club for letting me build the ramp and get my Eagle Scout for one. I mean, it really meant a lot. I mean, I know it means a lot to my family and everybody around me to see me achieve that.
Well, we're the ones that should be appreciative when young people give of their times through their parents, grandparents, communities, church, whatever. It certainly states a strong statement as to what you're all about. And you're a fine young man. We're very proud of you.
Thanks, sir.
And did you say your grandfather is your scout leader?
Yes, sir. Yes,
I
ma'am.
think everybody needs to know that, though. That's wonderful.
Let me also say one other thing about his grandfather.
Yes, sir.
His grandfather and I.
Watch it.
I'm not going to tell the whole story, but his grandfather and I graduated from Winterville High School in 1959.
Oh,
We were classmates all 12 of our public school years, but he's still older than me.
Or your birth certificate.
Congratulations.
Mr. Elliott, will you, although they could not be here, make a reading as to the other people that we approved on the resolution?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we had two other young men. First one is Joseph Edward Legacy the sixth, and then his second person is Jesse Frederick Martin the third.
Thank you, and we're proud of those young men too, and their parents and grandparents and everyone involved. Next, do we have any public addresses to the board?
Yes, sir. We have one person signed up, Nancy Colville.
Come around, Miss Nancy.
While she's coming up, I think it's interesting that the scouts that are coming up have done some projects at the Village of Yesteryear, and I know it has another name, but I know that, you know, that's been an important part for Pitt County, so I'll be excited to see them come.
Very good. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Good evening. My name is Nancy Carville. My address is on file. And Mr. Sherman, I'd like to revisit the sizing study for the animal
Pull
shelter.
that down a little bit, Nancy. It seems like it's not working, or is it me? Everyone, can you hear okay?
Can you hear me?
as well.
It's not, I don't know whether
Can
it's.
someone fix that?
Closer to it. She needs to get closer.
It's not that.
Get angry with it, Nancy. Go ahead, then. We can. Thank you.
Well, I'll speak louder. I can do that.
I thought you could.
At the, I wanted to talk a little bit about the presentation in which you adopted of the sizing study for the animal shelter. I think you probably know that I've been doing some homework on the whole thing. And like I said, at the public hearing that we had, I think it was good that you all adopted an ordinance because evidently the county is growing and there's a lot of people that wanted it. However, I think we have put the cart before the horse here with this, and I do have some things that I wanted to address. First of all, I thought that what the ordinance was supposed to do was to control and take care of those animals that are the dogs that are out there causing problems and attacking other dogs and so on and so forth. The other thing is there's got to be, you know, the ordinance is a leash law, is what it is, and it's going to be implemented in January. I think we need to make that clear to everybody because if the dogs are not inside, they need to be retained somewhere, and the other only way they're going to be retained is outside, probably tied to 2 or 3 or whatever, 24/7. There's nothing you really can do about that, but it is what it is. Having said that, I said that I thought it was over the top, and here is where I think it's over the top. I visited the shelter, and I was really kind of shocked to see where the director conducts business, because it's a little place. How they can all function in that little place, I don't know. They need to do something about that. Also, the animals are fine. They're good, but the people that take care of them and the director, I don't see how they function. I understand now why they don't have the data that we really need to go forward with this. Now, this sizing study, I read it from cover to cover and took some notes. Their whole presentation is a retail approach to adopting of canine and feline lines. Okay, that's great, but in reality, we cannot keep the dogs for 14 days after they are may I finish? Because I did a lot of studying. We cannot really, we have to see if we can really afford to keep these cats and dogs for 14 days, because according to them, it costs over $100 a day per animal. Per animal. Now, they're recommending, the cheapest thing they're recommending, the structure is $1.6 million. And that will give you 90 dogs spaces and 69 feline spaces. Now, bear in mind that the law only requires you to hold the animals for 72 hours after you get them. They're telling you, you need to keep them for 14 days, and we're going to use the retail approach, and we're going to need a space to groom them and show them and this and that. And I think we are just really going a little bit out there before we really concentrate on the needs, which at the beginning it was the dog bites, which, by the way, I got something from the director of the shelter that said she was passing it out, that it might interest you to know that the dog bites in Greenville the number is just as high as in the county. So here we are in Greenville with the leash law, which is pretty good, and we're having as many dog bites as the county has with no leash law. So I don't know how that's going to work. The other thing that I noticed was that we might need the 9 people, but we need those people to go out there and take care of the dogs that are loose. And we need other people, less pay to do the dog cleaning and grooming, all that. But I don't think that we can afford a state-of-the-art animal shelter with the problem now. When I talked to the director, and I talked to her for 2 hours, she was very gracious, is that we are keeping them too long. So when the municipalities call in or whoever, or we have more, well, we are full, but we are full because we are retaining them more than the 72 hours. So we have to come up with some compromise here, and we need to educate the public to say, once you bring a dog here, this is the deal. It's 72 hours. And the county is not in the adoption business because we simply don't have the money to be in the adoption building. In the adoption business. So I don't want to impose. I also read the strategic plan.
Let's wrap it up now, Nancy, and you can come back another time.
I'll come back next month. Okay, but I just want you to know that they are concerns, and I know you gave him the go-ahead, but think about other things that you also need to take care of. And, I really think this is over the top.
Thank you for coming.
Thank
We
you.
always welcome your opinions. Thank you, ma'am. All right, next, anybody else?
No, sir.
Your report, Mr. Manager?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, a few things to report on. Your next meeting dates for the month of September will be September 8th and 22nd. The meeting on the 8th will be at 9 a.m. Meeting on the 22nd says, Madam Clerk, 9 a.m., but it really should be 6 p.m. Item B, Emergency Solutions Grant. This is a grant the Planning Department is applying for. I believe we applied for these funds in the past. If James is nodding his head yes, I believe these are for homelessness prevention. Rapid rehousing for homelessness prevention. Item C, as the board is aware, we just came off of the NCACC, the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners Conference this past weekend. The theme of the conference was cultivating economic growth, which was the theme that was championed by the current president. I know that Commissioner McLawhorn, Vice Chairman Webb, myself, the county attorney, and Mike Taylor attended the conference. Didn't know if anybody wanted to make any comments. One thing I found really useful and exciting out of the conference was a program on to prevent teen deaths in driving, and we came back and we had heard from the folks there. There was Johnston County had showed a model of what they use in Johnston County. It was very effective. They went from maybe 8 years ago with 17 teen deaths with motor vehicle accidents, and then they dropped it to 12, and then like to 8, and then to 5, and then last year they had one death. We were happy to come back and find that here in Pitt County, we are implementing a similar model. It's not based upon the Johnston County model, but the Safe Communities Coalition. And lo and behold, they actually held a press release today where they've been working on this for a number of years. They've created a 14-minute video. Actually, it was through our own public information office. Very effective video. Watched it today, and this will be showed in the public high schools to students to help prevent deaths with automobiles. And this is mainly focused on drinking and driving. Was from the host groups they had host or focus groups. They talked to the students. They thought that it wasn't necessarily texting or talking on the phone, but drinking and driving was a major concern. So happy to see that we're actually doing what one of the other model counties in North Carolina is doing it. Otherwise, I'll turn it over to the others.
All right, anybody else?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, we are going to start our new strategic planning process for the association. As you know, and if you just look through our legislative goals, how successful the association has been in Raleigh. I'm proud to be a part of that leadership and to help craft that strategic plan. And then under my year as president of the association, we'll be implementing that plan in its first year. And so I'm excited about that. But I also wanted to mention a few other things. That our clerk was sworn in as treasurer of the Clerks Association, and our attorney was awarded from the NCACC the Outstanding Attorney of the Year award. And I was glad to be able to present that to her at our conference.
Very good. Melvin?
Yeah, yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. And one of the opening general section was Neil Peterson, who was a South African-born and a world-class professional solo racing yachtsman, a global investor, an award-winning author, Journey of a Hope Merchant. He faced many challenges in life, and poverty, discrimination, childhood disability, to just to name a few. But Peterson's message was to reinforce the importance of a positive attitude and how important it was to have that in terms of leadership and how we can use that as a county commissioner to decide when to alter our course of action as we proceed and doing the business as a commissioner. So I thought that was very good, and along with many other things. Janice may comment on the ABCs of contracting with P3s. I certainly was involved with her as she was the moderator of that, and I don't know whether you want to talk a bit about that, but I enjoyed that.
Good. I did, while I was there, in addition to participating in the conference and receiving the award, I did moderate an educational session on public-private partnerships, and I did also serve as the parliamentarian for the NCACC Board of Directors, which I have done for the last 5 years. And so your county was well represented and participated fully in that event.
We're very proud of all of you. Anybody else? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I have just a couple other things,
Yes.
if I may. Wanted to make the board aware, I believe you received this in your weekly packet, but on August the 28th at 6 p.m., There will be a stakeholders meeting for the radio and paging project. The consulting firm Kimball and Associates will be in town to speak to the fire and EMS and the county staff, and the Board of Commissioners are invited to this meeting. It'll take place at the Ag Center, and at this meeting, we will receive the follow-up information from the initial report that they had prepared, and we will be distributing this week the follow-up questions to the initial report that we had received. So I want to make you aware of that and that you're invited to attend that.
State that date
time is
again.
that?
The date, yeah.
August 28th, which I believe is a Thursday, 6 p.m. at the Ag Center. Tuesday, no, hold on. Thursday, August 28th. Yes, it is a Thursday.
6 o'clock.
6 p.m. at the Ag Center.
Okay.
One other item, two other items. The Medes Commission has wanted me to bring to your attention. They are trying to recreate a Medes Commission revolving loan fund advisory committee as they give out different types of loans, i.e. small business loans. They're looking for 2 people to be appointed as Pitt County representatives, one with a financial background and one with a business background. And if the board is in agreement, we could advertise for those. We have a formal written request for those. They've had a similar committee in the past where they've actually named folks. They've actually had a person down for possibly for the finance person, but we need to identify somebody in business if the board's agreed.
Everybody can concur with that? All right.
The other thing is, the Medes Commission would like the county to consider Pitt County hosting a fall dinner meeting in which the Medes Commission and the Pitt County Board of Commissioners would host all of 10 of the different municipalities, the actual council members to come in. The Medes Commission would make a short presentation on the services they provide and the projects they're working on, and also invited the county to identify a topic that the group may find of interest as well to put on that agenda and to build some camaraderie and information sharing among the jurisdictions. I've done this in other jurisdictions, and it is very useful to get all those people into one room and to have the exchange of conversation and information and just the building of the camaraderie among the county.
Board had consensus on that?
Yes, I think
All
it's a good idea.
Wanted to make the board aware in the budget workshops and just the whole budget process in general, as the board discussed and staff presented information on the canine control ordinance. We presented the budget and also talked about how that we would be going out to the 10 different municipalities and asking them to partner with us and hopefully ask them to implement the canine registration fee. Myself and Dwayne Holder have been doing that, going out. I think we've hit 6 of the 10 so far. Just wanted you to be aware. We're just having a dialogue right now, just talking. County attorney is working on drafting an interlocal agreement. We're calling it a draft. That once we meet with all 10, we'll send this out. Then we will probably call them all together. And we have asked them to consider this, and that we're not looking for implementation until July 1 of 2015. So it's not in this fiscal year, but the following fiscal year. But we are having conversations, and just wanted you to be aware if you heard anything, if anybody questioned you or came back to you, but we were following up on that. The very last item is a good news item. We are happy to announce James Rhodes has been bird dogging this project for probably 5-6 years at least, and that is to get a new lease for our federal space at the Ag Center for the federal agencies, and we are happy to say that we have finally secured that final lease, and that lease is actually generating additional operating revenue for the Ag Center. We will, there's 2 5-year periods in which the lease represents, and I believe the increased payment starting this month will generate a net increase in payment of $48,000 a year. There are some tenant improvements we have to make, but they're not extensive. And then he's reported that over the full 10-year period will net an additional $535,000 in additional revenue. So it's nothing to sneeze about. It's been a very complicated process. Dealing with the GSA, the Government Services Administration, has been a treat, is all we can say. But that's all I have.
All right.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
The director of Mideast, this is how this came about. He's trying to get more of the towns in Pitt County to come together to see their needs and to meet them and let them know what Mideast is really. Because you have a lot of people that don't know. And so that we have requested him to do this in each county. So that's what it's about. And I and the Mid-East Commission would appreciate very much if as many of you as possible would attend these meetings so that you would understand what we're trying to do.
Thank you,
That's
Mr.
what
James. Do we have a motion to approve these number 2 submitted for performance measurements?
So moved.
Second.
Do you want to say anything further, Scott?
Just briefly, I mean, this is volume
Let's
20.
vote. Go ahead.
Volume 20, as you're aware, we had Katie Martuna came before you, who is a graduate intern who's working on performance measurement for us, and we are in the process of totally retooling this process. And the document that you see before you this year, hopefully, will be a very different document in next year when we report to you. Many of the things you've seen here will still be in our budget document, but we will not be reporting on the P's and Q's of all the things you see listed in here. The performance measurement will be more key things that the public will be interested in seeing. It'll be more along the stoplight analysis in terms of green, red, and yellow, in terms of are we on target, are we under target, are we meeting the benchmarks that have been established. Some of the more detailed stuff will still be in the published budget document, but the document that we maybe make public presentations with will be more of a glossier document with tables and graphs and charts and pictures that can better represent how we are performing as an organization. So just want to report on that.
Thank you. We got 2 that have not voted, Mr. Johnson and Mr. Melvin. All right, Ms. Booker.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The Pitt County fiscal year to date combined collection rate for current year taxes on real and personal is 5.53. This is a decrease as compared with the same rate 1 year ago of 7.56. This is only the first month out, so we fully anticipate bringing that right back in line next month.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, let's vote. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, have a motion for
Motion
consent
to
agenda.
approve.
Second.
Made and seconded, let's vote. All right, Mr. Lee,
I'm sorry, you'll need to vote.
we
The
didn't
last-
vote on that one?
You did, but it hadn't cleared out from the prior until just now, so just so that we'll have the same number of
Guess
votes
we were
as you
too
have
slow.
motions.
Mr. Hammond,
Yes, sir, it already matched.
thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tonight, I'm coming and asking if you will consider CenturyLink as a sole source for upgrade to the 911 telephone system. Excuse me. Back in 2010, we upgraded and purchased a new telephone system for the 911 center, keeping in mind that some of the technology was not available that we need today to continue to move forward in the 911 system. So we're now trying to upgrade that system, and this equipment that we need is only can be purchased from CenturyLink to be compatible with the system that we do have. So tonight, Mr. Chairman, we're asking that you do consider CenturyLink as a sole source. You have the contract and everything in front of you tonight. This amount of money is $84,000, and it actually comes out of the 911 fund. So that was approved during the budget.
No question, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, let's vote. All right, Mr. Gash.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, for the planning board for District C, I would like to nominate Faye Barefoot.
All right. Any others for that seat? Dave, I believe we got one more vote for you. Dave, there we go. Confirm, vote, confirm. All right. If there's no others for the one that Mr. Gash nominated, you ready to vote on it? All right, let's vote. Any others, Mr. Gash?
Well,
What district is it?
What
that we're
district, what
talking
districts
about?
are available?
we just feel Faye
C.
Barefoot with District C, which is a combination of 4 and 5.
Okay.
You will when Mr. Hammond
They
votes.
got to live in those districts.
Yes, and she does.
All right,
She lives in
how about District 2? Does that have one?
District 2 is not up. District A is, which is 1 and 2.
1 and 2. Where's Ricky live? He don't live in Ricky lives in District 2.
Yeah, there are some in
No, he
that
don't.
district.
No, he's South Central.
No, I'll do number 4, he's already done 3. You want me to make the motion for Bradham?
All right,
Mr. Chairman, Danny Smith has been requesting to be put on it. You know, he runs the Seahorse, lives in the Stokes community.
what seat are you making it for, Mr. James?
That would be 1 or 2. He lives in 2. That's the reason I was asking.
Is that correct? You got it, Madam Clerk? If there's no other for that, you ready to vote on Ms. Smith?
If you'd please finish Faye Barefoot. Mr. Hammond.
Mr. Hammond,
Yes, sir.
vote please.
Same one from last time.
All right,
Mr. Chairman, I think.
wait, have we
Excuse
voted
me.
on Smith? We hadn't voted on Smith.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Let's vote on Smith.
Okay.
All right. Vote, Dave. All right, Beth?
The seat number 4 is open, and Mr. Bradham served previously representing District 4, and time has passed. He's been off for a while, and I would like to recommend that he be put back on the board.
If there's no other for that, you ready to vote?
May I ask this, what district does Ricky Hines live in?
4.
4. Yeah, I know he is.
Now, who are we, who did you just nominate?
Mr. Bradham, what's his first name? It slipped my mind, Mark.
Frank.
Frank Bradham.
Frank
Yeah,
Bradham.
Now, he's just rotating off.
Just? Oh, okay.
I'd like to
thought-
nominate Ricky Hines in for 4.
But I could still nominate,
But we would have to make an exception to our rule, right, Scott? Correct.
but we've done that in the past, a lot in the past.
But
If-
normally, when we've done it in the past, it's because we don't have any applicants for that seat, normally. But yes, we can make an exception.
I'd like to nominate Ricky Hines.
All right, you got 2 that's been nominated. All right, how do we vote, Madam
In
Attorney?
reverse order, so Ricky Hines would be voted on first.
Ricky
All
Hines.
right, ready to vote?
Sure we did. Who are we voting on?
For Hines.
Ricky Hines, is that right, Mr. James? Yeah, Ricky Hines, he's a good guy.
Where does he live, Mr. James?
Over, the high school, what is it, South? Central. Central.
All
He lives
right,
over
Dr.
in that
Johnson, will you
area.
vote?
Okay.
All right, no need to vote on that one, that's it. Anybody else? Beth, did you have, when you,
No, I've already made mine,
I don't know
and,
about you talked about 3.
We didn't do 3.
no, there's already, he did 3.
Does that take care of that?
Is that all of them? Didn't you do 3, Mr.?
How many of them?
There isn't an applicant in here for
Well,
District 3.
I don't, I had someone to approach me, and I told them how to apply, and they're not in here. So anyway, if we could delay it until our
It's
next
been a
meeting,
request that in the agenda for
Yes.
that anyway.
I'd like to request that.
All right.
Sure.
That, everybody consent to that? Okay,
Thank you.
all right, where are
Board of Health reappointments.
we? All right,
Board
what's
of Health.
special?
Mr.
No,
Chairman,
Yes,
Agriculture.
sir, Dr. Johnson.
I would request that we reappoint Dr. Keith Ramsey. He has some special skills that are very important to the Board of Health.
All right. Anybody else? If not, let's vote. Now we go back up to number 3.
Correct. And I make a motion, we appoint Lauren White
Second.
to the Agriculture Advisory Board.
Anybody else? If not, let's vote.
If you'll
Mr.
finish
Hammond
the,
needs to vote.
yeah, if you'll finish the last one. Thank you.
Now you're voting for White?
Yes, sir.
All right. Vote, Dave.
Dave.
All right, anything else for the good of the world? If not, we'll start with comments by Mr. Gass.
No comment?
None.
No comments, Mr. Chairman.
I forgot to mention earlier that Commissioner McLaughlin was also appointed to our Board of Directors with the State Association, and that the direction you'll see us go in this year is going to be a heavy focus on mental health. whereas we seem to have lost ground statewide. Counties are going to attempt to gain that ground back, since the other levels of government have kind of left us to do it.
We're
That's
very
all I have.
fortunate to have our county have such active participating in the state affairs, and I think we're very good to have you two men do it. And it takes a lot of time and effort, and Beth,
Thank you. I did owe that. I was gonna mention that myself. Thank you.
Tom?
At the last rural planning meeting, the TAC that I'm a member of and the TCC, two items came up that might be of interest. 14th Street Connector is scheduled to be let on December of this year, and the Southwest Bypass is scheduled to be let in March of 2015. So it's kind of moved up.
Well, that's good. Very good. Long awaited. Mr. James?
No comment.
Reverend?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, I didn't put this on the agenda because I wanted to put it out in the open first. We're in the Commissioner's auditorium, but I don't know how much longer we'll be meeting in this particular building. But I would like to honor Mr. Eugene James, who has served this county for many, many years, and name the Commissioner Auditorium the Eugene James Commissioner's Auditorium, wherever we be meeting at heretofore.
Mr. Chairman.
Very, very good recommendation, Dave.
Hmm?
I think he's most worthy.
Thank you, sir.
Does the board want to do that at this time, or what's your pleasure, since it's not on the agenda?
I concur with
I
that.
concur with it.
Yes, sir.
All right, is that a motion, Dave?
Yes, sir.
Motion been made and seconded. Everybody want to argue against it? If so, speak up. I guess silence is a vote for then, is that correct? All right, let's vote. Tom?
You shaking your head, no?
Yeah. I ain't voting no.
Very good. All right, now, if the final, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
Yeah.
All right, let's vote. Have a good night.